Hey, I don't know who needs to hear this, but maybe the problem is pride. And before you scroll, I'll just let you know I've been taking about 3 weeks to really process that, but it came up again in the conversation. I was like, now's the time to talk about it. So I'm in a season where I'm in a lot of newness. Typically, when I try new things or like I just get to have new opportunities and responsibilities, I'm really multi-talented. Like I can rely on just the natural skills that I have. However, the Lord has seemingly dropped me in a season where I can't do that. Like I really have to be okay with asking for help. I have to depend on a delegated authority in my life to let me know how I'm doing, if I'm doing something wrong, how to improve and stuff of that sort. And that is where the irritability has been coming from. I realized that when my apostle checked in and he was like, hey, how are you doing? I was like, I'm doing good, just trying to be obedient to the Lord and all of that. And he said that was a good place to be. But he was like, I always say obedience is better than sacrifice. He's like, I just want you to never forget that obedience is also better than your best. And I realized in that moment that I have been operating in pride in aspects of my life, and that's why I've been frustrated and irritable. I was just like, Lord, like for some reason, in the perfection mindset that I had, just growing up, I realized that I had not given myself the space to have grace extended to me, because maybe this is not the best that I can be in this season. Like there are coaches at my workplace that I have to lean on to tell me what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong. There are elders and pastors in my church that they are in delegated authority to basically walk me through what it looks like to be the leader in this season of my life, to be a leader I've never been before. Even my family, the Lord was showing me how like I could be operating in pride there. It's not always a bad thing. However, the Lord reminded me of the story of Cain and Abel in Genesis chapter 4, and I was reminded that yes, Cain was angry. However, part of his anger really was because he was prideful. When he did his crops offering to the Lord, he was under the assumption that that was the best that he could do, and because that's what he felt was right, what he felt was best, he missed out on the piece where in that moment God was extending grace to him. And it got to a point where instead of him opting in to really just see what the Lord's trying to teach him in that moment, he had to learn what it meant to have mercy and grace extended to him in a form of punishment. Now, I never want to get to that point where pride has brought me to a place where I have to deal with the consequences of my own actions. And I believe that the Lord seemingly sent my apostle to innocently ask me, how are you doing? So that I could recognize that it was pride that the Lord was trying to wring out of me in this season of my life. I don't know what it looks like for you, but maybe you're annoyed or irritable because it's pride. All right. I love y'all.